Luke Browning, super excited to get you on the call, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. How are you?
Good. So can you just give us a bit of an intro about yourself and
Yeah, definitely. So I came over here to DC to go to American University in about 2016. Been here now. It's my 4th year in America. Absolutely love it. Decided to come back and work full time. So it's been really good.
Tell us about that. Like, so you obviously playing soccer in college. You're studying now. Did you kind of do like an internship? Did you get contacted by where you're working now? Did you do an internship there? How did it all come about?
Yeah. So last summer, I managed to get myself an internship there, and then they decided to hire me full time after that, and they're sponsoring my visa and everything to take care of that. So finance. Okay,
so you're studying in finance, and you're in Washington D.C, right? So
yes, Northwest.
All right, fantastic. Northwest in the outer suburb you mentioned before, which
awesome area.
Awesome. And you mentioned before too, like you're happy that you were recruited and got the opportunity, I guess, offered by American University, which is a Division I soccer school. And there's some I learned there's some pretty big alumni that have gone to that school, right? Like there's some quite famous people that have attended American University before. Luke Browning being one of them.
Of course.
So you said you were happy that you ended up going to a school that was in a city environment opposed to...
Yeah, sure. So it's just nice not being able to like get away from campus. The campus is really nice, but sometimes on the weekend, you just got to get away from everything and go and have a change of scene. And it's not really like a college town, so you can go to places that are just completely separate from it and have a change of scenery. Whereas when we traveled to different schools to play them, some of them weren't in very populated areas. So just driving through the college, you're like, what do people do here?
Absolutely, and rightly so. So obviously living and working back in America, back in DC, I mean, it must have made a big impression on you, and you took an opportunity. So that's fantastic. Is that part of the power of the network that you've created by going to play in the States, and the alumni and the connections that you create while you're at American University? Is that sort of how that come about, that where you're working at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, the biggest reason I'm coming back is because of the people and like the network you create and that sort of stuff. I've just really enjoyed. I think that's the reason I'm staying, is because of the people. I can't just go home yet, so I got to stay here for a little bit longer.
Well, I mean, it's a two-way street in a way. I mean, obviously, without your work ethic and your skill set and what you're doing, that wouldn't have come about. But obviously, helps having that great circle of people around you to help you get where you want to go, and you obviously took the opportunities. What was some of a challenge or two that you really had to overcome, and what happened to you?
So a couple of the bigger challenges was the mentalities around injuries, especially in soccer, because the season is so short. It's like 10-12 weeks. If you get injured during the season, you can kind of derail your whole season. So like an example of that recently was senior year. I was like playing well, and then I got a high ankle sprain, and that pretty much just knocked me out for the rest of the season, which kind of sucks, especially because
that's tough.
It's like one of those things that you can't really come back from like quickly. Another challenge is just making sure that you're disciplined enough to like be able to do everything that you want to do while you're at college. So like obviously you can't, non-negotiable is training. Got to go to your classes, and then outside of classes and training, just scheduling homework and social stuff and being, I guess, responsible, because no one cares what you do, I guess. So like it's up to you. Deciding early on what you want to make of it, because you can easily go there and just get sucked into the party life and all that sort of stuff in every college.
I bet. I mean, and that's obviously part of it, that's part of it. But you're right. I mean, you're coming, like when you were recruited, like we started working together, I think in your, when you were year 11 and year 12 in high school. So you're sort of second or last year of high school. And then you've been recruited and then you've gotten over to the US. So you're coming straight out of high school, straight into the US. So, what are you, 16, 17, 18, when you're first getting over there away from home. And so you had to probably grow up pretty quickly in terms of all that stuff. So,
I think it's definitely helpful being on a team. So I didn't really, when I went over for my official visit, I went in July, I think. So school no one was there. So I met the coaches. I think I met the captain. And then that was it. And then the following year I turned up, and it's kind of just, you kind of have like 30, like very close friends that you're with hours on hours a day. And I think that makes it so much easier to get accustomed to it. Whereas say if you were just going abroad for the semester and you didn't know anyone.
Yeah.
So like, especially during preseason, we had 15 of us in one house at one stage. So like you get very, very accustomed to each other very quickly.
Tell us a couple success stories or things that really, emotionally stood out to you or made a big impact. A couple of wins that you had throughout your 4 years.
I think freshman year when we made the final of the Patriot League tournament, even though we lost, just the experience of playing in front of like 1,200, 1,500 people. And then each year we'd have a game where we got 1,200 to 1,300 people coming along. And that's just such an awesome experience. And you're not really going to experience that anywhere else unless you go pro.
Correct. It's crazy, isn't it? American football turned 90,000 people come to a college football game, and little old soccer comes with 1,100, 1,200, 1,300 people. And that's still, but I'm sure, the small packed in environment is very cool. Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
just overall playing with guys that you just get along with really, really well. And just the overall experience of being on a team and being around people for so long and doing what you love, because obviously everyone on the team loves playing soccer. And just getting to travel around the country and to see a whole bunch of areas that I would never have gotten to see.
Yeah, I bet.
That's probably been the biggest win out of all of it.
Yeah. Any teammates of yours that you kind of still hang with now, or you're working with, or working on a project together or anything?
So like right now I'm still living with 5 of them.
Okay, cool. Sweet.
Until we move out. And then at the company where I'm working at, there's a bunch of alumni from not just my team, but the athletic department in general that I've been keeping in contact with. And just in general, like going through the 4 years, you meet so many people, and then there's a lot of, I think a lot of student athletes are very, very disciplined and very driven. So they get pretty good jobs straight out of college.
Right.
For the majority. So just the amount of connections that I have built from it is definitely
wow. So you would say that, like, being a student athlete, that it would make you more recruitable, more attractive for an employer because of your wow, definitely,
especially a foreign student athlete, because I feel especially like coming from like other countries where soccer is maybe a bigger prevalence than in America. You're getting the people who aren't just solely focused on soccer a lot of the time, because say if you're coming from England, for example. If you're trying to go pro, you're more likely just going to stay and try and get through the youth academies in England. So I think you get a lot of people who are also looking to the academic side of it. So I think from my experience, a lot of the international athletes go on to do very well for themselves, both on the field and then also off the field.
About maximizing your pathways in life and taking certain opportunities. Do you still get the urge, like in terms of playing? Are you going to play club soccer, or do you have the opportunity to play after college or anything?
Definitely. I think once, obviously it's hard with the whole pandemic.
Yeah, tough.
But I'm definitely going to be looking out and trying to like play still at a relatively high but fun level.
Yeah.
I guess got to find the right medium.
Yeah, sure.
But yeah, I'm definitely still trying to play because I still love the sport. So
yeah. Oh, fantastic. Well, I mean, you certainly paved the way. I mean, obviously, you know Ryan Blumberg, who is at University of Maryland, and you guys played together back in Australia. And there's another young lad that we've worked with, Aria Michael, who apparently knows of you from New South Wales, who he just went and signed with Tiffin University in Ohio. So kind of a couple of guys. Ryan was a bit of a mentor for him, and couple of more lads out of New South Wales, Australia, to head over to the US. So
that's awesome.
And do you remember anything about your recruitment campaign, like working with Athletes Dream? I remember you saying, I think you were pretty skeptical in the beginning when we reached out to you because of it was, you know, we'd sort of scouted you online. We knew that you were playing at a decent level in Australia and you know, because you know, if you're not playing at a decent level, it's tough to elicit like athletic scholarship opportunities, especially in a team sport like soccer. So,
so the original reason I was skeptical was because a kid who played soccer in the year above me at high school, went over to America, and I can't remember what company he went with, but it was an Athlete's Dream. So he went with some other scouting agency, and they kind of screwed him.
Okay.
And that was the only like experience I'd really had. So when I was reached out to by you guys, I was like, "Oh, I don't know about this. I'll see what happens."
It's honestly like, you know, there's not all agencies are equal, and I think you know, and you know, we go about it differently, and sometimes you know. The players are let down, especially if the expectation hasn't been built from the very beginning as to where they, you know, what's the realistic opportunities that are installed for them. Do they academically qualify? Are they playing at a decent level that's going to get, you know, certain opportunities? And so I get that. And unfortunately, it gives our industry a little bit of a bad name. And so, you know, we're trying to rectify that, obviously. So I can understand your apprehension in the beginning for sure. Yeah,
because I think also looking back on it, it's very different because it's kind of pro, because for the coaches at least, because this is their livelihood. Like it's not like back in Australia where a lot of the time the coaches have day jobs.
Yeah,
like this is their full-time job. They're trying to like support their families, and so it's very cutthroat. It's very high turnover, especially soccer, because there's only like 9.9 scholarships for 28 guys. You know, so it's, if you're not cutting it, they're going to try and get you out as soon as they can. So I think
absolutely,
that's another reason why I feel some people might also get disappointed, because if they come in and the expectations of their ability is set too high, either from themselves or from the agency. If they come in and then the coaches are like, this isn't what, like, it's almost like the coaches sometimes think they get catfished.
Absolutely. And I think, you know, there are a lot of variables at play, obviously, from the coaches' end and from the athletes' end and from the family, then trying to match that together, and performance comes into it. Like you say, especially Division I soccer, I mean, you're playing at an elite level, like you say, almost a professional level.
But I do remember one thing I think I vaguely remember, it was a long time ago now, 4 years, with going through the process with Athletes Dream. You guys weren't really, it was more, I felt like it was more autonomous with you and your agency acting as facilitators to get the video out there. Like you were never speaking on my behalf with someone or never telling me like what I can and can't say to people. It was more like, I felt like it was more, you got information from me, then you gave it out to all the colleges that you thought fit the criteria that I gave you. And then it was kind of on me to then facilitate the conversations with those colleges once they've reached out to me. And I think that's a good way to approach it, especially with expectation setting, because there's no one, like, it's only me and the coach talking, it's not having someone else talk me up as much.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, you're right.
Well, that's how I saw it. But
well, look, I mean, it's again, from our point of view too, is that sometimes it's the coach wants to talk with you, the athlete, directly, and we're kind of just facilitating that and kind of being a father or a parent in that, to make sure that you're getting a good deal, as well as that the coach is getting a quality athlete as well, and trying to make that match. And there are other times that we are on the phone calls with the athletes and the coaching staff, because a 16, 17-year-old kid,
it's a big decision.
Yeah, it's a big decision, and even just talking face to face with a coach can be pretty intimidating and things like that. And sometimes even the parents don't have any really information, or they don't know how to do it either. So
it's also good to like lean on your guys' experience, because I think you guys have been doing it long enough that you can kind of see through all the bullshit. And like you can because from different schools, I've heard some horror stories about coaches just lying to international kids about like what their university has to offer. And I feel like having an agency at your side will allow you to, like, they'll be able to like tell you in a year afterwards, like, hey, I don't really know if he's just telling that, because I've heard some bad stories about that. So
look, you're right, and it's like we said before, it's from kind of both ends too, is that like the athlete isn't as good as what the agency or what they make out to the coaching staff, and then there's disappointment there, and then there's disappointment from the
athlete
coach
side.
The athlete side as well. So it's not all rose-colored glasses.
No.
But and I guess what you're saying is that from our experience is trying to minimize those challenges there from both ends to try and make it. And as I said before, it's not always perfect, and there are challenges, but in more cases than not, I think there does become a positive match. And
exactly. Because I know for me, I had no idea about America. I'd never been there.
Yeah.
I didn't know I knew of like Harvard, Yale, etc. But other than that, never heard of like Arizona State or like AU or GW or anything like that. Yeah. So I think there's also having athletes dream there to like have more knowledge of like universities and that kind of thing, I found was helpful, because I had no idea what a good university was. I didn't know what made a good university. I didn't know any of that sort of stuff. So just having like a resource to ask that wasn't the internet, because obviously a school's website's going to make them seem like the best university in the country. So
correct.
Just having someone who'll be honest with you was very good.
Yeah, happy that you had a positive experience with us, and that's fantastic. So I guess where to from here, mate? So in terms of you've got a working visa, obviously. So that's for. Are you contracted for a period of time, or?
So I'm on an E3 visa. So that is specific to Australia with a free trade agreement we have signed. Okay. So that I can renew that every 2 years. Okay. Kind of indefinitely. So it's nice because I have a lot of flexibility, and so I figured I'd come straight back because it'd be easier to get a job straight away, and I can always go home. So it's but I don't think I'm going to go home anytime soon. I'm planning on just staying here and continuing to work and just see where I end up. I have a lot of flexibility, which is very nice.
Well, mate, I'm super excited. Thanks for your time, man. Really appreciate you getting on the line, and let's stay in touch and be good to see where you're going from here, and keep hitting it from outside the box with that left foot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate your time and all your help with everything.
Yeah.